watching my channel. I'm taking a little time out to talk about Crawford versus Spence. And particularly, I'm going to talk to you guys about why it's a tough call for me and why I'm not picking anybody in this one. This one's not easy to pick. You actually have to see the fight and know how it'll break down. So, a lot of people don't understand that what Errol Spence has shown us in terms of his skill and ability is not the full package. Errol Spence, when he's sparring much bigger guys than himself, does a lot more things, and his pedigree really shows. He makes it look simple. He makes his style looks simple, but there's a lot of illusion behind it. There's a lot of trickery. As I said before, Errol Spence comes off different kinds of angles against his opponents. He may look like he's standing in front of them, but he's never standing directly in front of you. So Errol Spence cuts angles. His pivot work is the key tool that makes Errol Spence. What makes Errol Spence so special is his pivot work, his footwork. Okay? So nothing is as it seems in boxing. So don't be... Now, Errol's work rate is really high sometimes not. So we haven't seen the best of Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is an exceptional boxer. I don't believe he's faced anyone like an Errol Spence ever before. He's faced a lot of fighters, B-level fighters. The best fighter on his resume, I believe, is Sean Porter. So, Terrence Crawford is a great fighter. Okay. I'm not going to sell Terrence Crawford short. As Teddy Atlas so correctly said, he seems to have instincts. He instinctively adjusts to his opponent. And he has shown himself to be a smart boxer. But there are levels in the sport of boxing. So I'm going to kick back on that and say that Errol Spence has also shown that he can adjust. Errol Spence likes to impose his will on fighters, but he also can make adjustments. And he's a smart boxer. He's not somebody who's just going to try and bulldoze you down with no respect to what you're throwing back at him. He's going to attack you intelligently. And we've seen a number of intelligent boxers of late. We've seen Lomachenko, Triple G, to name a few, Dmitry Birog, for those of you who know Dmitry Birog. We've seen smart pressure fighters. And Terrence Crawford is a smart pressure fighter. Tim Tszyu's another one. Jermell Charlo is a smart boxer puncher. Charlo actually boxes, but he has power. And may box you off the back foot, or, were you pushing him back, or he may box you off the front foot. The point behind it, what I'm saying to you guys, is that Crawford and Spence is a hard call. This is one of those fights which I just have to see. This is not Tommy Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard. This is a way more technical, way higher level fight than that. In that, Sugar Ray Leonard was known as, again, a smart boxer, and Tommy Hearns was known as the puncher, the guy who added the pressure puncher. But Terrence Crawford is different. Errol Spence is different. Errol Spence breaks you down to the body, as Mike McCallum would do, the body snatcher. Errol Spence took that to a whole other level. This is like a return of Mike McCallum versus a Sugar Ray Leonard. This is more like that than it is Tommy Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Because Tommy Hearns, once you got to the inside Tommy Hearns' thin body, you could break him down. But with the case of Errol Spence, we've seen Errol Spence take some hellacious shots that probably should have knocked him out or knocked out a lesser opponent, and he still keeps on going on with the game plan. So Errol can take a punch. He has a chin. In fact, Errol has never been put on his butt in the ring, whereas Terrence Crawford has been. Now, I'm saying all of this not to belittle Terrence Crawford, but to make you guys understand that you're underestimating Errol Spence in this whole thing. I think a lot of you guys have gone on the Crawford train, and you've forgotten that Errol Spence, this guy has proven himself with the challenges that he's also been through his challenges against Kell Brook. He had a difficult time at a certain point against Kell Brook, and he made adjustments. He had a difficult time, I think, against Sean Porter. He made adjustments. and he was making the fight exciting. He could have boxed, Sean Porter at certain points instead of dealing with the pressure, but he decided he was going to beat Sean Porter at Sean Porter's game. He was going to out bully Sean Porter, who wanted to bully him. And so Errol engaged that way. What I'm trying to say to you guys is that Terrence Crawford's a hell of a fighter. But don't get it twisted. Errol's IQ is up there with Terrence Crawford's IQ. Terrence Crawford's more, as I said, plastic, elastic. Yes, he also has a sort of instinctive ability to make adjustments. It's not just he's consciously making certain adjustments. He's actually instinctively doing that as well. But even so, Errol, y'all are really underestimating Errol Spence. Okay, this is a guy who came back from 2 injuries. An accident, a car accident, and an eye injury. And he imposed his will on fighters, even beating them even worse than if he didn't have an injury. This guy has a very, very strong will to win. I can't see Errol just getting caught with any old shot from Terrence. Errol does take risks, but he takes intelligent risks. He takes calculated risks. He's a very calculated fighter, as much as he's doing his work. And if Terrence happens to buzz him or hurt him, Errol is going to make an adjustment. I can guarantee you that. And he's going to continue his railroad training until Terrence makes another adjustment. I'm telling you, Errol is not some fly-by-night kind of fighter. This guy's well-proven, great pedigree, and you haven't seen the best of him, So all of that, I'm just saying to the extent and to the point that my food was cooking on the fire and it decided to explode and spill over my pot for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. Yeah, I say this to say that please do not, and I say this fight is very difficult to predict because I'm telling you, both guys, can negate each other. It depends on whose night comes out. It could end up being a draw. This fight could end up being a draw. I don't know if it'll end up being a draw, but this is one of those fights where I can't tell you. I can't tell you. All my years in boxing. Now, some people believe in Terrence Crawford and believe in his abilities and have seen certain things in him and have aligned themselves with him. I know Floyd Mayweather kind of aligned himself with Terrence to some degree. Well, I can tell you right now, this is a hell of a fight. This is not no run-of-the-mill kind of fight. This is a fight which baffles our minds. And if you try to figure this fight out, you probably won't figure out anything. You probably won't figure out anything. You'll just be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because, like I said before, this is a perfect 50-50 fight. And it's going to go that way. You're going to see it pan out that way. And maybe there's a knockout, maybe there's not a knockout. I'm not predicting anything. I just want to see it. Terrence Crawford has grown into welterweight. He's a full-fledged welterweight right now. He's got good pop. He's got good technique. He makes certain adjustments that he throws some very unusual punches. So I can't say, as like I said, he's very plastic. He's very elastic. Errol's more precise in his movements. He's more rehearsed in his movements. He's more, you can tell he's a student of the sport and he follows the sport and what Derek James shows him. So he's more of a student of the sport than he is, relying on, his instincts and stuff like that, even though he has instincts as well. So it's a clash of the well-schooled student of the sport versus a plastic, I tell you, plastic, elastic, instinctive, smart, counter-puncher, boxer, leader, boxer, puncher. It's amazing matchup. Just an amazing matchup. KP from KC says, the danger I see for Errol is that what does he do if Bud takes the jab away? That's the thing that you haven't realized. Errol leads with the right hand. He leads with either hand. Have you not noticed that? Errol leads with either, but he's not going to take the jab away. I'm going to tell you why. Canelo's a guy who's an expert at taking the jab away. But there are certain fighters you can't take away their jab because they have educated jabs and they don't just throw their jabs all the time religiously at the same speed, at the same rate. Errol varies his timing of his jab. He varies the angle of the jab. He varies the type of jab that he throws. And there are two things you're forgetting. These are two southpaws. So there's no Bud goes southpaw on Errol and gives Errol a different look. Errol's used to fighting orthodox fighters. And he has no problem fighting southpaws like himself. So Bud going southpaw is not going to do anything for Errol. So there's no extra angle or something. Bud can switch it up. But even when he does switch it up, Errol's ready for him. You see what I'm saying? What does Bud do if Errol gets to his body? Nothing. Bud's well conditioned, so that's not an issue again. Errol going to Bud's body, Bud is going to protect his body. He's going to protect his body, obviously. And again, the footwork that Bud has can take that away from Errol if he decides to keep it long, or he decides to pivot away and spin out. If he decides to now, Errol's pretty strong physically, kind of like it's like a Miguel Cotto versus Floyd Mayweather. He's physically strong, and like Miguel Cotto, he can take a punch. So Bud's not going to knock out Errol with one punch. He's not going to catch him with something and put him down. That's not going to happen. So it's an interesting fight in that way, What does Bud do if Errol makes him stand and fight? Nothing. Bud loves to stand and trade, so that's not a problem. Throws combinations and stuff. That's when he can clip up an opponent. So that's not a problem either. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm trying to say. And Bud can throw combinations and pivot out the way at the same time as well. So I tell you, it's like a chess game. I can see this fight turning into Hagler versus Hearns or Mayweather versus Cotto 7-5. Yeah, it could be a Mayweather kind of Cotto thing. It could be, it's like if Mike McCallum was to face Sugar Ray Leonard. That's the fight. Mike McCallum versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Never happened. That would have been a great fight. And I think that's the kind of fight you're talking about. You're talking about a guy who invests to the body, wears you down, but he's a smart boxer at the same time. He could box. He's also slippery. He's also elusive. He can keep it long too. He keeps his guard tight, keeps defense. That's the kind of guy we're talking about when we talk about Errol Spence. We're talking about a Mike McCallum kind of guy who could do a little bit more than Mike McCallum versus a Sugar Ray Leonard kind of guy. You understand what I'm saying? That's the matchup. So that's what makes it so difficult for me to say who would win. I think the guy with the better defense is going to win this fight. The guy who can sucker the other guy into getting hit, I guess, is the guy who gets hit more. It's going to be more like that. Now, even though Errol has a high work rate, it doesn't mean that Terrence can't slow down his work rate by changing range on him. Remember, Errol really thrives best when he's either he's in the pocket, not when he's long. So if Terrence keeps it long, he could kind of reduce Errol's activity and work rate. Of course, if Errol cuts off the ring, but can he cut off the ring, against Terrence if Terrence decides not to be caught, not, to make Errol pursue him, to make Errol frustrated. Yeah, if it's going to be come get me. Oh, no, you can't. If he decides to play tag with Errol for a minute, get him frustrated, make him make a mistake to counter and capitalize on. That's a different kind of fight. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of different ways this fight could go. And both guys have all the tools in the world. It would be weird if Errol decided to go on his back foot and make Terrence come find him. You know what I'm saying? Cat and mouse game, So it's just, you never know what these guys could do. This is not a Thomas Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard. This could be a Hagler versus Mike McCallum, for example. Both guys going at it, finding their spots. James Toney versus, Mike McCallum, that kind of thing. It could be one of those fights too, because the guys would probably want to entertain the fans and make it interesting. So they want to duke it out, dust it up and see what happens. But I can tell you right now, Errol fights punchers. So guys like Jamal Charlo, he sparred Jamel. He sparred Jamal Charlo. He's been sparring light heavyweights. These kinds of guys. So when we talk about Errol, I don't think there's nothing that Crawford could throw at Errol that Errol ain't felt before. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Errol's a bigger guy, and he been dealing with bigger guys all the time. So what Terrence is going to bring to the table that Errol ain't felt before? Terrence not going to bring nothing to the table that Errol ain't felt before. You know what I'm saying? You know, remember Errol sparred also Floyd Mayweather. He it's not just Terrence. I mean, he been at the mountaintop. So this is not some. He got confidence through the roof because Errol know what it is. He know what the game is. So for us to just think that Terrence is just going to knock out Errol Spence, that hell no, hell no. You know, like Errol said, you got to bring a submarine. You going fishing? You going fishing? You better have a torpedo to blow me up. You know what I'm saying? You better be bringing some torpedoes because I've been in there. I've handled bigger guys. I've handled guys who are snipers, just like Terrence is. You know, I've handled those dudes. I've been sparring those dudes. I've been sparring Jamel Charlo for crying out loud. All right, and I'm the smaller guy. So you know, Errol been there. That's what you gotta understand. The preparation. Errol been there. Now, has Terrence been there? I'm pretty sure Terrence been there too. Of late. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying right now, you know, they already got the hype on Terrence, right? Terrence is kind of being anointed the next guy out there. And I get it. I totally get it, right? How he been handling guys has been savage up in the ring. But y'all can't overlook Errol, man. Y'all just can't overlook Errol, man. You can't. Look what this guy's been through. Look how this guy performed after being through that stuff. All right. This man been in a car accident where he damn near got thrown from a car at 100 and something plus miles an hour. Survived it. No broken bones. You tell me Terrence could do him something? You understand what I'm saying? This dude got a second burst of life. So y'all really mentally, y'all ain't following what's going on. You know, mentally, this guy is not breakable. Like this dude, nothing breaks him. Errol Spence. So you tell me Terrence Crawford gonna just roll up in there and just break this guy? Come on now. Come on now. And this is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying, KP from Casey? I don't think this is a Hagler Hearns. No. Hearns never been through what Errol been through. So you can't call Errol Hearns. Hearns didn't even have a chin like that. You know, Errol got a chin of granite. Errol's never been down. Nobody's ever put Errol down. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So, you know, Crawford, you know, carrying himself through the fire, Errol carrying himself. This is going to be a hell of a fight, man. This is going to be a hell of a fight. And I'm not calling it. I'm not telling you who's going to win. I want to see this fight. This is a fight where I want to see these two guys push each other to the limit. And let's see if anybody breaks in this fight. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Terrence Crawford got shot in the head and came back from that. Okay? So, I mean, these two guys are warriors to their heart. They're willing to die in that ring. They go to the nth degree, to the end. So, if they put it all on the line, it's going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be a great fight for the fans, and y'all need to pay for that. Don't shortchange yourself by not paying for this fight. This is a fight. This is what we call pay-per-view. This is a pay-per-view fight. When you don't even know who's going to win the fight, you should pay for a fight like this. So I'm saving up my money. So the end of July the 29th, I'm going to pay for this fight, y'all. And I hope that you guys going to pay for. This is what boxing's all about. This is the kind of matchups we wanted to see. This is what you guys been calling for. And it will be a travesty if this fight doesn't do over 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. It deserves it. This is one of those fights or more. You know, this is a super fight. You know, Mayweather Pacquiao, you know, was a great fight and everything, but this by far dwarfs it. This is what boxing's all about. Haney versus Lomachenko was a great fight too, but this fight dwarfs that. The only fight that probably can beat that right now in boxing is if Haney was to face Tank. You know, and to be honest with you, these two fighters are more accomplished than that. You know, more accomplished than both fighters in the sense that Terrence Crawford being undisputed, Errol Spence being unified, and these guys been fighting straight killers. Okay, they've been fighting straight killers. Okay, you know, Spence more than Terrence because Spence at a weight class where they was killers. Danny Garcia is a killer. Okay, he a killer. Okay, you saw what Danny Garcia did to to Crawford's last opponent, the Benavides kid, Jose Benavides Jr. You saw what he did. You saw how easily he outboxed him and outbeat him, right? You could say, well, Benavides ain't been fighting for a while, not really on his A game like he was in his prime against Terrence. You could say that. But you know Danny a bad boy. You know Danny a bad boy. Let's just put it there. I was watching somebody, I can't remember, I think it was on Facebook, one of them. Well, it was here on YouTube. And dude was trying to say that Danny, got beat by all the great fighters at welterweight. But y'all forget Robert Guerrero was a bad boy. Okay? Robert Guerrero fought Keith Thurman, got put down, and he fought really hard against Keith Thurman, in the later after the fight. That was Keith Thurman's first title shot. Or I think it's title defense or title shot, one of them, right? I don't know if you guys remember Bundu. I forgot his first name. Bundu was a switch hitter, just like Terrence Crawford. And Keith Thurman knocked him down, and then Keith Thurman couldn't get him out of there, right? And Bundu had a good account of himself. I'm just saying, Keith Thurman was a bad boy himself. Never mind, he ain't doing nothing these days. He a bad boy himself when he was in his prime, and when he was really doing it. Keith Thurman beat Robert Guerrero, who was the guy that, he looked stupid against Floyd Mayweather, but he was running through everybody. You know what I'm saying? Robert Guerrero was stopping everybody at welterweight. He jumped up to welterweight and he was beating up everybody. You know what I'm saying? Not A-level fighters, but nonetheless. And he beat up Berto, too. Yeah, I think he beat up Berto worse than anybody ever beat up Berto, right? So Robert Guerrero made a name for himself and stuff, and Keith Thurman beat Guerrero, and then Danny Garcia beat Guerrero. But we could argue that Guerrero could have won that fight, too. It was a close fight. You know what I mean? And then Danny had some close fights with Sean Porter. He had some close fights with Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? Well, it wasn't that close with Thurman, but nonetheless. And Danny showed he could hang with those big boys. So, Danny Garcia is a name in boxing. And remember, Errol came off a car accident to fight Danny Garcia. Well, Dennis Ugas a bad boy in boxing. We all know this, right? He didn't get some decisions, but he's a bad boy. And Ugas, Errol Spence wrecked his eye. You know what I mean? Ugas a bad boy, though. You saw him beat Pacquiao. You also saw him beat Pacquiao. So, yeah, I mean, Ugas got a pretty good resume besides Pacquiao. And we could argue Ugas beats Sean Porter. We could argue that. It's debatable. It was a close decision win for Sean Porter. You know what I mean? But Sean Porter, I thought, beat him. But nonetheless. Then, of course, Errol had that great classic fight with Sean Porter. Errol's been having exciting fights, right? And Errol also faced Kell Brook when Kell Brook was actually a world champion. Yeah, he came off the loss to Triple G, but this was the dude that beat Sean Porter, right? And Kell Brook had a good account of himself until Errol broke the other eye. All right, Errol be smashing people's eyes of late, right? This shows that Errol can punch and hard. But besides that, I'm just saying, and he broke, I think, Ugas's ribs as well. I think he broke one of Ugas's ribs in the fight with Ugas. And then, but Ugas a real fighter. He's a gladiator, a warrior. These guys don't back down. Again, some high quality, high caliber guys. Mikey Garcia was a smaller guy, but he made Mikey look like Mikey wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, Errol Spence also took on one more person. I can't remember who it is. He didn't go through Thurman. The only guy he didn't beat was Thurman, right? But he beat Porter, Garcia, Brook, Ugas, all the top welterweights he went through. The only guy he hadn't gone through as the top welterweight, he said he's not going to face him and not going to give him a chance, was Thurman, right? So Spence been fighting the top welterweights. Now, my boy Crawford only got one top welterweight that he ever faced, a top 5, that is, and that's Porter. And Porter didn't have no title or nothing. Porter was challenging him, though. Porter came motivated, and he beat him. He stopped him. You know what I'm saying? And kudos to Crawford on that, but that's the only name he got. You know what I mean? That's the only name. And so we be real. Was Crawford ever tested? Yeah, he was tested in a couple fights. But at welterweight, he really didn't have the competition to push him, to test him. This guy here, Errol Spence, It's definitely going to push him. If Crawford think this is going to be a flow in the park and he's going to be able to, trick Errol Spence into getting caught, he got another thing coming. He have a tough fight in front of him. Very tough fight. Right? Errol knows it's a tough fight with Crawford in front of him. He knows it's a tough fight, and he's preparing for that. And Crawford better understand that. And if all these people, talking up Crawford and all of that, I hope that they understand this is a tough fight. This is not no easy fight. That's why I can't pick it. I cannot pick this fight. Right? I don't know who is going to win. This is a tough ass fight, as far as I'm concerned. I'm no hype involved. At first I was saying I would favor Crawford because of his last but I'm thinking about it, and I'm just saying, Errol never showed us his full game. Errol hasn't showed us his full game. Errol can do a lot of things in that ring, and he's only showed us some of it. Right? And we know Errol to be dogging people, but he can box. All right? He can keep range. He can keep distance if he need to. Then he can pick his spots and choose his opportunity and do it while being very, very active at the same time. And his footwork, man, and his balance is Crawford don't got that kind of footwork and balance. He don't. Errol stays in balance almost all the time. He's in balance. That's something that Crawford don't have. Crawford got plasticity, but he don't got that kind of balance. So it's all those kinds of things that keep me thinking Errol never really overcommit with his shots. And yet he gets perfect leverage on his shots. So these are certain things I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, Crawford, he's smart. And he could try and walk Errol into something. And Errol might even get caught walking into something, get caught with something. But because of his balance and because of the way how he throws his punches, I don't see Errol like really full tilt flowing into something and getting caught. Like how Jose Benavidez got caught, or like how Kell Brook got caught. I don't see that happening. Because Errol got crazy balance, So there's all these kinds of things I'm looking at, and I'm thinking to myself. And plus, Errol, just like Canelo, he'll ride the punch. You know what I'm saying? He'll ride the punch if you're gonna do something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just certain things I'm thinking about, and how these guys kind of cancel each other out. And it makes the fight very, very difficult for me to pick anybody. This is a great time for this fight to happen because, people talking about Errol coming off the eye injury and the accident. Nah. He just more resolved than ever. Errol really resolved. So it's about two very resolved, determined guys going at each other, trying to better each other. And it makes for a very, very, very compelling fight, man. So I just wanted to talk about this. I know you guys might throw some points, but I'm telling you right now, this is not one I'm not even trying to predict this one. I'm gonna be sitting this one out as a fan, enjoying the action. And I know it's gonna be plenty of action. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be tactical. I guess the guys are gonna be tactical with each other at first, trying to feel each other out, see what's up with each other, and then they're gonna go at it. It's gonna get heated, definitely gonna get heated, and it's gonna be great. It's two smart fighters in there. So they gonna be smart about what they're doing. They're gonna take risks too, calculated risks. I expect both of them to take calculated risks. Go in there. They're gonna try and give you a show as well. They're gonna try and give you a show. They're not gonna, not throw punches. They're not gonna watch each other. That's for sure. So, Earl Thomas says, how does balance help if you get clipped and equilibrium is disturbed? I'm lost in the comment. First of all, balance allows you to react to somebody who's throwing a punch. So when you are in balance, when your weight is distributed equally on his front and back foot, you're able to react and get away from a punch or ride a punch. So your equilibrium is not disturbed. Okay? So, and there are times when you don't even see the punch, but your body reacts to it. Okay? Because you didn't see the punch, but your body reacts. Okay? There's a lot of punches that are too fast for a fighter to see or to cognitively pick up. So you have to allow your body to react to it. Natural reaction. So your body will react and you will know to ride that punch or whatever. Because so that there's certain punches fighters just don't see. All right. So if that answers your question, Mr. Euro Thomas, I hope it does answer your question. That's why being in balance, never overreaching with your face, never overreaching and leaning over your body, but staying in balance when you throw your punches. Getting full leverage on your punch, but at the same time staying in balance is very important. Euro Thomas says the punch you don't see is the one that knocks you out. Ask Carol Brook. Again, Euro Thomas. Carol Brook was reaching with his punch when he got clipped, which is why he was not in balance. If you're in balance, even if the punch starts to hit you, you will ride that punch like Canelo Alvarez shows you all the time because he's always in balance. So it's not about the punch you don't see that knocks you out. Yes, that's somewhat true. Sometimes that is true. Sometimes it is not. But you have to be out of balance. You got to be out of position. A guy has to bait you out of position. But when you are always in position, when you are always staying in balance, that's what the word imbalance means. It's very rare that you will be knocked out. Again, this is simple boxing. Right. So, like I was saying, you know, it's hard to predict this fight. It's hard. If you a Bud fan, Euro Thomas, that's cool. Ride with your boy. But understand something, Mr. Euro Thomas. Don't let it cloud your judgment on what you are seeing before you with the two fighters. A lot of you guys, you're riding on a bandwagon. That's cool. But when we're talking boxing here, we're not picking sides. We're looking at it straight down the center, and we're seeing what the fight really is. One of the things I see Spence does is he lunges when throwing a punch, and he will get countered and hurt. He doesn't lunge when he throws a punch. You don't know what you're talking about. Like I said before, he's an imbalanced fighter. Go watch it again. In fact, sometimes he leads off the back foot, meaning that he shifts his body weight to the back foot and inches forward with the front foot. See, y'all don't know boxing. These are things that really annoy me because y'all don't know what it means to be on the front foot really. To be on the front foot is not just moving forward. Some people move forward. They inch forward, as we say. Canelo, we see Shakur Stevenson doing it. We see Tank Davis doing it. Okay? You're inching forward with your front foot, called stealing ground. You're inching forward with the front foot, but your weight is on your back foot. You're ready to spring back on the drop of a dime. You don't know about these things. You just talk. A lot of you guys out here talk, and it kind of annoys me. I'll be honest with you. You're annoying me right now because I know you're a Bud fan, and you're just talking to try and beef up Bud. And your mind is only thinking about Bud. You're not thinking about both fighters and what they bring to the table. You're not thinking about how this fight is a very interesting fight. No, you want to come here and talk about how Bud is a better fighter than Errol and how Bud can capitalize on Errol. That's what you're here to talk about. You're not here to talk about boxing with me. You are here to persuade everybody that Bud will win this fight. And that's cool. You can do that. But right now we're trying to have a conversation about both fighters. We're not trying to have a conversation about how Bud can beat Errol. Okay, buddy? You want to do that with your fan service? Go somewhere else. We're trying to talk about boxing, period. We're not trying to talk about, I understand. Listen. Let me be nice to you for a second. I understand we have fans. This is what makes the fight great. This is what will make the fight exciting. Okay? So fans for Bud arguing Bud's points is great. And fans who argue for Errol's points is great. That's what makes the fight exciting. Okay, gotcha. But right now, we're not focused on that. We really are focused just on what it is we're looking at and why this fight, in my opinion, is hard to predict. I got to see it. So when I make these points, I'm not trying to be a bandwagoner. I'm not trying to be a fan of one particular fighter. Okay, I'm really looking at it realistically down the center, and I'm showing you guys something. So when you try to convince me or you try to tell me that being in balance could still get you knocked out, that's stupid. I'm telling you, these are things that this is part of defense. All right? You want to make your points about why Bud is better than Errol. Fine. You can do that here, but make valid points. Don't come trying to tell somebody things that have nothing to do with boxing. It's just you in your fan mind wanting to push a fanboy point. I'm not interested in that. Okay? Because I don't want to misinform the public who's already misinformed about a lot of things in boxing. Because the media pitches things in such a way that people get misinformed. So I'm here to try and inform people about boxing. So when I start speaking about certain things, I don't need you coming up in here creating confusion about it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to actually give a straight, clear analysis about things. Okay? You want to push the Crawford agenda? Go ahead. Knock yourself out elsewhere at this point in time. We can have a forum for that where you fans go and argue with each other and have fun. But right now, we're talking about why this fight is such a great fight and why I know you're going to pay for it. I know you're going to go out there and you're going to do that. You're going to pay that pay-per-view. And that's fun. And all I'm saying, Mr. Earl Thomas, is I'm not trying to disrespect you or anything, even though you did annoy me. Okay, because I'm trying to really get to the audience and educate the audience on boxing. All right, that's the purpose of what you need. But I will say, bro, if you back in Crawford, go hard, baby. Go hard. Because I'm telling you, man, the dude definitely could win this fight. He definitely could. All right, Crawford definitely could win this fight. He got all the tools to win this fight. Okay, he makes adjustments. He's a smart, cerebral fighter, and he has the instincts. He has that because he's done this sport so well, and he's got all these little what we call them wrinkles in his game. And I'm gonna go through. You know what I'm gonna do on this channel? I'm gonna try and highlight it in a video, all the little wrinkles. But I don't want to tell all the secrets. See, I don't like doing that. But what I'll do is I'll do one or two wrinkles on what makes Bud so special, because he is very special. That's a special fighter, okay? And with Errol Spence, when I speak about his balance and his pivot work that gives him the advantage over a lot of boxers out there, not only his pivot work, but also how he changes levels and everything, his athleticism, but also his schooling, how he has been schooled so well by Derek James. I use that as his attributes because I want you to understand what it is. When these two fighters come together with each other, you know what it is they bring to the table. So you're more educated on what you're seeing in that ring. You're not just following one fighter and you're not looking at the other fighter. And I want you to look at both of them when you're watching the fight, because it's beautiful to watch this. The sport's a beautiful sport. And I want you to, it's dangerous as hell, but it's a beautiful sport. All right, so I want you to get a full inhalation of the sport of boxing. That's why sometimes they say that the connoisseur of boxing or the people who actually enjoy the sport for the sport, not just for any particular boxer. Hold on a second. Okay, just finished cooking some food here. Yeah, that. The connoisseur of boxing enjoys the sport for the sport. All right. It's not connoisseur, some other word. I can't remember what it is. Whereas the fan, they may be a fan of the sport, but most fans are fans of boxers. All right. Well, let me see what Errol Thomas has to say. One of the things okay. Errol Thomas says, I think Spence is a great fighter, but I think Crawford's a special fighter. Big difference. See, you're just comparing them. And that's cool. All right. That's cool. I'm glad that you like Crawford and you're riding with Crawford, and that's cool. I love both fighters, to be honest with you. Terrence Crawford's, yes, he's one of those once in every 25 years kind of fighter that comes along. But I do also believe Errol is such a fighter as well, and he proves it. And special is not only in terms of skill and instincts, which Crawford has, obviously, and also smarts, and well schooled, but and plasticity, which Crawford has. That Spence doesn't have that plasticity. He just doesn't. He's not that guy. But when you look at Spence's will, Julio Cesar Chavez was great because of his will. His will to win. And that makes it, and the special ones have that will to win. And I only say that because Crawford also has that insatiable hunger and will to win as well. But Spence has displayed it and demonstrated for the whole world to see. Where people thought being in an accident, he ain't gonna have no career in boxing, the man came back from that. When this man should have quit boxing because of his eye, he came back from that hard. I mean, he broke another guy's eye. Okay. And he did it using certain techniques and skill in boxing that pressure fighters don't very rarely do, because to be defensively responsible while you're being so aggressive, while you're applying that pressure, while you are mounting offense is a very special thing. And only few fighters right now in the boxing world today really do it very well. And one of them is Canelo, another is Shakur Stevenson, another is Gervonta Tank Davis, of course Terrence Crawford's another one, Vasily Lomachenko, Errol Spence. I wouldn't say Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo applies it at times, but he still kind of fights off the back foot when he has to. Versatility. Both guys are extremely versatile. Errol Spence, like I said before, hasn't shown you everything he has in his tools and arsenal. And I'm yet to see the rest of it. So, but defensively responsible, Errol Spence is very defensively responsible. He gets hit with shots. But not as often as people think. Terrence gets hit with shots, but not as often as people think as well. So these are two very responsible, defensively responsible fighters who are offensively minded. And that makes for a hell of a fight. A high level chess match, I'm telling you, man, this thing is beautiful. This is a beautiful fight that we're going to see. Anyways, what you need, been talking about this fight for 42 minutes. I'll come back and I'll try to do a couple of videos, maybe 1 minute, 2 minute videos on each fighter. I'm not going to highlight everything because I don't want to do that. I think that would take away from this fight. Sometimes it's just like a magic trick. You want to kind of let people get into the illusion of what it is. Same way with this fight, to make this fight sexy and to make people really want to come and see it, divulging too much information about it really kind of takes the luster off of it. I don't want you to know everything. I do observe a lot of stuff, but I don't want you to know everything. So hopefully I'll have another phone. So I'll have two phones. I'll be able to watch the fight on one phone, and I'll be able to comment on the fight as well. So I may do a live commentary on the fight so you guys can get a position. I'm not going in with any horse in this race. Not this one. This one's too hard to call. This is the perfect time for this fight. Some people will say, well, Terrence a little long in the tooth in terms of age, but Errol get banged up, man. He got banged up and he had to hold his body together. So it kind of cancels each other out. This is one of those fights that really orders for it, just because they at an age where their legacies are kind of intact already, and now it's a throwdown time. It's kind of like a Mayweather Pacquiao, but not as cautious, either guy. So they really gonna throw down because there's a little erosion in their abilities. Terrence is what, 37, almost 37, if he's not 37. So you have 37-year-old, 35-year-old, I think, or 34-year-old throwing it down. One's been in a car wreck and he got his retina detached. The other guy, you're a little old, got shot in the head. It's just fantastic. This build-up. Man, I just hope we get huge pay-per-view numbers on this, like bigger than Tank versus Ryan, because this is a bigger fight, man. This is hands down a bigger fight. Than any Canelo fight. This the biggest matchup I've ever seen in a long time, man. I can't even call the matchup. That I ain't had a matchup that I couldn't call like that. You know what I'm saying? I can't call this one. I want to see who wins. You know, I don't give nobody an advantage over nobody. I think both of them kind of cancel each other out. So I really want to see this. This a fight you want to see, people. Pay to see it, even if it's collectively. Get your monies together. Everybody have a house party or whatever, and y'all pay for it. You know, but put up the money for this fight. This is a fight worth your dollars. This is the fight. This is the fight of the century, not Pacquiao versus Mayweather. This the one. This the one. You know the both guys are going to throw down. You know they're going to throw down. So this is a fight you want to see. This is like a throwback fight, but much more precise. These guys throw laser beams instead of, you know, they quick and everything. So this is going to be great, y'all. This is the welterweight fight to see. This is the fight you don't want to miss. And you don't want to see it secondhand. You want to be there live for the action, the adrenaline pumping. You really want to see this one. This one's the one. This one's the one. So we're gonna see two great fighters, man. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. This could be something that, you know. And they always say the first one's the best one. So you don't want to miss. Even if this ends up being a trilogy, you don't want that. You don't want to miss the first one. You don't want to miss the first one. I hope the judges get it right, though. The judges need to get this right. So I hope the judges don't mess this up. So that's what I got for you guys, man. I'm what you need. 46 minutes and 18 seconds. I ain't done a video this long in a long time. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence has made me have to do a video this long. Oh, man. Oh, man. Y'all guys have a good one. Peace. Oh, don't forget, you can also donate to my channel. I'll put the link down below at the end of the stream. You can come back, donate via PayPal. What you need, ain't done nothing worthy, I think, of donating by PayPal. But if you want to support the channel anyway, you like what I've been doing over the years, you think this is a guy that really deserves his dues, then hit me up, man. Hit me up. You know what you need. Always be trying to give y'all the straight. Blessings. I'm out.